Talking about because it has never been this active. There were 369 activist campaigns last year, up 12% from 2012, and investors are pouring money into the funds run by the likes of Icahn, Einhorn, and Ackman. Let's take a look at some of the greatest hits in the world of activism.
He's been called the godfather of activist investing. Corporate boards may call Carl Icahn something very different. According to Activist Insight, Icahn ran 14 public campaigns last year, and he's been doing this for a long time. In the 1980s, Icahn doubled his money on Texaco. In the 90s, he made $800 million on Nabisco. And he hasn't lost his touch. Just last year, his bet on Netflix returned more than 400%. Few activists have been as busy or controversial as Bill Ackman. This week, Ackman disclosed a 9.7% stake in Botox maker Allergan. And in an unprecedented move for a hedge fund manager, he's teaming up with Valiant Pharmaceuticals to buy the whole company. Of course, there's his notorious short on Herbalife. So far, it's been a wrong way bet, but the $1 billion trade may be turning his way after a 27% plunge in Herbalife shares this year. In 2002, he shorted bond insurer MBIA, saying it didn't deserve a AAA rating. The financial crisis proved him right, and he made more than $1 billion for his clients. Dan Loeb rocked Silicon Valley by buying a 5% stake in Yahoo. Pretty soon, he and two allies were on the board, and Google's Marissa Mayer was brought in as CEO. Less than 2 years later, Loeb sold his stake back to Yahoo. His profit, roughly 130%. Nelson Peltz likes consumer products. He's taken stakes in Wendy's and Mondelez, the snack maker. But his biggest score came with Snapple. In 1997, Peltz bought Snapple for $300 million. He added new products and juiced up the ad campaign. Just 3 years later, Peltz sold Snapple. The price, almost $1.5 billion.
All right, we continue the deep dive. Let's bring back Harvard Business School professor Bill George and John Staszynski. He's here too. He runs Blackstone's investment banking division. And we want to focus now on Carl Icahn's fight against eBay. Make it a case study. John, actually, Bill, let's start with you. What's your take on the whole thing?
Well, John Donahoe comes in 2009. He restructures the company, gets rid of Skype, buys PayPal, and focuses on integrating the two platforms. Done a brilliant job. Stock's up 465% in the last 5 years. So what's not to like about that? And I don't understand why Carl chose to go after him. Why not go after some moribund companies that aren't doing the right thing? He's got a very strong unified board, so he would do everything that I think is necessary. He's analyzed the portfolios and activists. He's got a strategy. He's stayed with it. He's integrated the two platforms. He's leveraging the two. And his problem is not Icahn. It's Google and Facebook and how he can keep his platform going. But he's got a very strong board. And a very strong independent board, a lot of very capable people on that board, and they continue to upgrade that board. Probably the strongest board in Silicon Valley. So I think he's doing the right things.
Senor Staszynski, what do you think?
I think when this case study is taught at Harvard Business School, it's going to be taught as a case about how activists can use the media in a much broader way than corporations. Because corporations, remember, they're bound by lots of sort of pointy-headed people telling them what they can and cannot say in disclosure. In this particular case,
those pointy-headed people cramp our style every day.
This particular case is interesting because you had Carl Icahn using the media with respect to letters, disclosures, and the press, but he met his match because whereas most executives are not that comfortable dealing in a casual way, in an in-your-face way with the media, John Donahoe, Scott Cook, Mark Andreessen are very comfortable dealing with it. And actually, if you were to read Mark Andreessen's blog during that whole period, there was a daily, rigorous, robust rebuttal of Carl Icahn's position and his position. And I've got one other point, but I will shut up.
No,
Please
don't.
Give it to us. What's the last
other point is my comment earlier about fact-based activism. Bill Ackman yesterday made a very detailed, plausible, fact-based case.
Factivism.
Yeah.
Factivism.
You like that, okay. Now, I don't recall, in the context of Carl Icahn's investment and position vis-a-vis eBay and PayPal, that he made a fact-based analysis as to the logic for disentangling.
Which was the
Okay,
same
hang on
argument.
a
Hold
second.
on.
Hang
John
on.
brings up a great point, because this has been the same argument Bill Ackman has had with regard to Herbalife with every single person who's been long. Bill has said, line up against me pound for pound. I've done my homework. Have you? That's been Bill's case the whole time.
Okay, so how about fact-based management?
Hang
How
on one
about a
second.
management?
Carl Icahn would say, John, that he did present a fact-based case. Okay, in his letters to eBay shareholders, he laid out his argument. He made an argument, persuasive or not, that's in the eye of the beholder, right? But it was certainly based on facts. There were facts in there.
Yeah, there
Why
were
was
facts.
it not fact-based?
I don't think it was as rigorous as a lot of the other types of fact-based analysis say. I would...
But Bill, look at
Eric,
Carl
there's
Icahn's track record. Does he need to prove,
No.
rigorous fact-based work?
Yes.
Look at his numbers.
Yes, he did a great job on Biogen. Okay, he changed the management. He brought that company back and has done very well. But let's go back to this. Anyone can pick at the facts. You can go down to P&L and find something you don't like. He actually tried to split the board, and one of the key points is you've got to build your board chemistry in advance for years, and you've got to have them unified because you present to them how would an activist take it. Why are we doing this? What are we doing? You need to have unification on that board so that you don't just treat the board like a rubber stamp. And I think the top CEOs are using their boards. Indra Nooyi used her board very well at PepsiCo to make some changes back in 2010. Now it's paying off for her, and that's why her results are so good. She made what I call a mid-course correction. It's paid off really well. John Donahoe has done the same thing, and he's built that board and used it. That's not true of a lot of companies, and so I'm pleased to see this. I think these are role models of how you should do it. And present your own facts. You better have the facts ready. Don't create them after the fact.
So you would agree with Bill then, John, that Carl Icahn's problem in the case of eBay was just picking the wrong target, not the tactics that he chose to employ in his efforts?
Now, I go back to my point. I think it is an example of how, in this particular case, eBay used the media to support their case to shareholders in a very robust, rigorous way.
It's a gutsy move, though. Can most companies actually do that, knowing all the legal ramifications? I mean, Carl Icahn can sit there and get on the phone with a TV organization 24 hours a day, and he's got nothing to lose. He's his only investor.
Right. So let me jump on the side of John. They are using it very effectively, using me, and CEOs feel very constrained about what they can say and what they can do. They can't have a direct shot. I've listened to them. I listened to Bill go after Target when they had that huge proxy fight about 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, it's very personal. With Mark Andreessen, I can tell you it's very personal. Scott Cook, it was very personal. This is 5 years, but he was looking for some to kind of split that board. And so they have the power of the media, and I think CEOs are constrained for legal reasons and not being able to fight a fair fight. So I think John's got a very key point. But doesn't mean you don't have to be prepared. You don't wait. You've got to have your advisors lined up. Look, you have Goldman Sachs or whomever lined up. Have your whole team lined up, including your PR team, ready to go.
All right, we need to take a quick break. Bill George and John Stadzinski with us. We're taking a deep dive into activism, or the new title, Factivism. Stay here.